In this day and age, pretty much anybody can pay money for a prettier face if they think that they're not physically attractive. But something that I've learned is that probably and arguably the most attractive trait in any person is their vibe. And when I say vibe, what I'm referring to specifically is their energy, even more specifically, their personality. I talk a lot about fucked up and unhealthy survival based childhoods in a lot of my videos. What does that mean? When somebody has a severely fucked up childhood, what happens to their ego state is it gets really fucking deformed. So, what does that mean for their personality? That it gets really fucking deformed. They don't really get to develop a healthy sense of self, and that becomes one of the biggest issues. So that would actually make sense as to why somebody's vibe, somebody's energy, somebody's personality would be one of the most attractive things about them. Why? When you have a more wholesome, developed sense of self, you have a sense of self security. Think about it. Somebody that is insecure about themselves, what it really means is that they're just not sure of themselves. What does that mean? It means that they did not get healthy ego state development from childhood. And with that, they never actually did the work to learn about who they are and heal the marring and scathing that initially took place. So, what do? They continue to go throughout life being insecure, unsure of themselves. They don't know who they are. And with that, when you don't know who you are, and this is not a matter of shaming anyone or guilting anybody, it's just that insecurity in any individual, it's not really that attractive. And the other reason why it's not that attractive is because when you are insecure, you are exceedingly, I would say at least exceedingly, unsure of yourself. You don't really know who you are. And with that, you kind of just float about life. You don't really go after things. You don't really do things that are important to you because you don't really know who you are. How could you actually go after something that would be considered important to you if you don't know who you are? You don't know who you are, so therefore you don't really have a direction. Chris doesn't know what he likes, so therefore he doesn't know which direction to go into. And the fascinating thing is that if you have a sense of self security, a sense of self assurity, you don't need to be reassured by other people who you are because you already know who you are. It doesn't mean that you wouldn't seek advice from people. It just means that you know for a far majority who the fuck you are. And that's really important. So understanding this can help you see that, all right, maybe it doesn't really matter. I mean, don't get me wrong, physical features are important. But if you lack mental and emotional features that are absolutely necessary to be able to even hold a deep and meaningful long-term relationship with somebody, you're going to have a very hard time with relationships. Just see it for what it is. Understand it for what it is. You are going to lack the capacity to be able to form relationships with other because you don't really know yourself. The only way to have relationships with others that are deep and meaningful is to first have a relationship with yourself. And if you are insecure with who you are, you're going to have a very hard time having a relationship with anybody else because you're not going to be sure of yourself. So therefore, you're also not going to be sure of other people. A person's energy, a person's personality, a person's vibe, a person's sense of self security is very attractive. Somebody who knows who they are, and if they don't, they've done the work, or I should say in childhood, if they didn't because of their childhood marring and scathing, they actually did the work afterwards to get a sense of who they are. That's important. Because imagine if your childhood is just so exceedingly fucked up that you come out with this ego state that is just all over the fucking place. And your personality is just so fucking warped, it's almost even non existent. So imagine you're trying to connect with somebody that's like that. And like they're here one moment, and then they're all the way over here, and then they're all the way over here, and it's not consistent, it's not static, it's not sufficiently molded. That's one of the most important things about a healthy personality is that it is actually wholesome and molded in a way that is static, meaning that it is persistent, it is consistent, it continues. It's not here and then it's 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 here. No, Who the hell wants to have a relationship with someone where they're like, I'll pass? I can imagine the next person would pass too. It's fascinating. People, you can pay money, really good money, to get facelifts, to do things, to to, to whatever it is. It doesn't matter what it is. Other than getting the money for that, that is easy. But the fascinating thing is that actually putting the work into yourself, to dive into yourself, to get a better understanding of who you are, and to really sit with that over a long term period of time, that's fucking difficult. Yeah, that is. Actually, like putting in the work to like sit with maybe a lack of structured personality and look at that and be like, oh shit, that's kind of scary. That's difficult. It is absolutely worthwhile, but it's difficult because you're like, how do I do this? What do I do? What do I need? But that's why, like, when you actually take the time to get to know yourself, take the time to consciously put in the work to structure a more wholesome sense of personality, that's fucking attractive. Being safe with somebody who is static, who is secure in themselves, who is not ever changing and all over the place. It's not good or bad or right or wrong. It's just not healthy. The more you become static with yourself, the more you do the work on yourself to actually become a static sense of self, a static identity, a static personality, more wholesome, doing the work to actually sit with all of the things that you experienced in childhood and working through your shit. And as you do that, you become more static as a person. That's attractive as fuck. Because it shows that you actually took the time to sit with yourself. Anybody can do whatever the fuck they want to their face, to their boobs, to their butt, to whatever. It doesn't matter what it is. You can do whatever plastic surgery you want, but at the end of the day, if you haven't taken the time to sit with yourself and your personality, or your, unfortunately, lack thereof, again, it's not good or bad or right or wrong. It's just the difference between somebody who actually has a structured and conscious sense of self, a personality, a sense of self-security. They are actually secure in themselves because they've taken the time to get to know what was previously unknown, and even with that, unconscious. Damn, that is fucking incredible. That is remarkable. And there's a lot to be said about that. And that's why, in and of itself, vibe, personality, energy is just so fucking attractive if it's actually there. If there's something that is structured there. There is a sense of self-consciousness in a healthy way, healthy self-esteem. Yeah, that's fucking remarkable. That's really cool. So maybe, like, you look at people that are attractive physically and they are consistently unsuccessful in relationships. It's not for no fucking reason. You can be physically attractive all you want. Do you actually have a healthy personality? Did you actually take the time to develop yourself if you did not have a healthy childhood? That is what I would argue is necessary to look at.